Hey guys, I want to tell you guys a story real quick. I wasn't sure if I was going to tell their story or not. The person that it's about, I'm going to keep anonymous. I'm not going to give out their name. But when I was working at Circle K, I was outside doing the trashes, and I heard this woman. She was screaming, and at Circle K, that's something normal. That happens every day, and then usually 9 times out of 10, it's a false alarm. They're not actually hurt. And she was hollering and yelling and saying, "Get away from me, don't touch me, leave me alone." And I look over and I see there's a crowd of people. I continue to take my trash out as I figure out what I'm doing about the situation that is now on the property of Circle K, right? And as I finish up the trashes, I walk up to the group of people. There's like 5, 6 people surrounding 2 people. And I can't see who they're surrounding through the crowd. But as I step up to them, one looks at me and then they just part. Like simultaneously just part. And I walk right through them. And there's a woman in and out of consciousness, and I ask her, "Hey, hun, are you okay?" And she mumbles. I'm like, "Hey, hun, are you okay?" And the guy that's touching her leg says, "Yeah, she's fine." And I look at him and I say, with all due respect, with respect due, I'm not fucking talking to you. I'm talking to her. And I reach out my hand. She grabs my hand in and out of consciousness again, and I help her inside. Well, she sobers up a little bit, and she's still stumbling around. The crowd of people left, including the guy that was touching her, left. And I told her, I'm like, "Look at that. Your so-called friends left. You deserve more than that." And I told her that you deserve more than the drugs that you're taking. Well, 3 years go by. Or a couple years. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years go by since that situation. And I end up meeting her. And she's sober. I haven't heard from her in a while, but she was sober when I re-met her. And she's like, "I don't know why I need to tell you this, but I want to tell you about my last high." And I didn't let her know who I was. I didn't let her know that I know her. And she still doesn't know who I am. And she told me that on the last night that she got high, she was at a building. And there were demons surrounding her, trying to take her soul. Like trying to take her, She wasn't sure where they wanted to take her, but they wanted to take her. And one kept like reaching for her and almost got her. And then simultaneously, the demons opened a walkway. And she kept stuttering over her words and saying, "This actually really sounds really crazy because I don't know what's real. I don't know what is real, what isn't real." And she was all over the place with the story because she thinks that I'm going to think that she's crazy. But I don't think that she's crazy because I do believe in demons, angels, and that when you are high off of certain things, you can see a different reality. So I'm like, "No, go ahead, continue with your reality of your last high." And she said an angel walked through the demons, and the demons were snarling at this angel, and the angel didn't care. And the angel had darkness inside of it, but I knew that I could trust it. And then the angel brought me inside, away from the demons, and the demons left because they were scared of this angel. Absolutely beautiful story from their perspective. And so I guess people keep walking around me. There was a wild dog. I'm standing at the wash right now. So that's why I keep looking around, because people keep passing. It's like whenever I want to stop and actually do something, everybody shows up. But that's just my internal thoughts being external. You never know who you might help. And after she told me that story, her perspective of it, I was talking to my mom. And in that time frame, I was really dark. I was in and out with my higher power. I was going through a lot of things. I was drained, but I still wanted to help people, and I still do to this day. I will help anyone. And see, there goes another person. I want to apologize to all the people that I told were fuck ups, that I told in my life, and they may not even see this video, but I'm apologizing because their story, their testimony will save somebody's life someday. And so the next time you see somebody that's high off their ass, that is not living the life, quote unquote, you think they should live, think about it real quick for a moment. They already think that they're dirt. That's why we do drugs, right? We do drugs because we feel like we're less than. And of course I knew this throughout the times of working at Circle K, right? I knew this. It was a constant battle. It was a battle of what I'm told to do by two different entities. By the entity of the business, I'm told that these guys are scum and that they don't deserve to be there. By my higher power, I'm told that they're loved just like I am. And so it's a constant battle, right? Because there's my paycheck if I don't listen, but then there's my soul if I do. So the next time you see someone that's struggling with an addiction, talk to them, help them. Let them know that they're worth more than that drug that they take, because they are. And they just don't know it. I have never felt more free from being away from Circle K than I do now. And I'm crying because it hurts. It almost had my soul. Because I had to choose between the kindness that I am and the paycheck that I needed. And I don't ever want to do that again. I don't ever want to have to decide. I don't ever want to have to make that choice. Because that's a really filthy choice to have to make. But the love of money is the root of all evil. And at one point, needing money turns into the love of wanting money. Because without it, you lose your house, or you lose your job. Not your job, because your job is your money, but you lose your house, you lose your electricity, you lose the car. So, but what price are you willing to pay for your soul? And when she told me her side of the story, it made me realize how lost I actually was. And it reminded me of all the times that I wasn't that courteous, that I wasn't that nice. Sure, there are plenty of times that I was. All right, there's been plenty of times. That's why I was drained. All right, that's why I was light with the darkness. It's because I was absolutely drained. But that doesn't matter. The point is all the people. I've probably told 20 to 30 people that they're assholes. 20 to 30 people that they're worthless when they already felt worthless. That's why they're putting their blues on the foil and smoking it, right? That's why they're chasing that dragon. That's why they dance with the devil, is because they feel worthless. And so hearing that from another human being just sets it in stone. Well, the stranger thinks I'm worthless, so I must be, right? It's one thing for mom and dad to think I'm worthless. They're pieces of shit anyway. But when a complete stranger thinks that I'm worthless, then I'm a waste of space, right? Hearing her side of the story actually helped a lot. And I didn't tell her that I know her. I'm never going to tell her that I met her. Because I don't. You know? It's not about that. I didn't make this video for a pat on the back. I made it because you never know whose testimony you might change. Whose story you might change with just a simple helping. Telling them that they're worth more. And that they need to be with their kids. That they're worth more. And than the pills that they smoke and the people they hang out with, because those people aren't true friends. And I told her that. I'm like, look, your friends are gone. They're no longer there. And she's like, to tell you the truth, those are my friends. I'm like, well, I'm glad that you see that. I'm glad that you see that. And I asked her, I'm like, you sober enough to leave? And she's like, yeah, I'm sober enough to leave. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we went our separate ways, and I never thought that I'd see her again until I did. And seeing her reminded me of all the times that I did help people, but it also reminded me of all the times that I told them that they were worthless, that they were nothing, that they were scum, all because they decided to throw their life away for the quick fix that makes them feel better for a moment, that makes them feel something. I don't ever want to be that person again. And I will continue to make these type of videos. Change one person at a time, because you never know who you might save. And you never know whose testimony might save somebody else. And you know what? It's not going to be the priest's testimony that saves somebody. It's going to be the people that are sleeping on the streets. Their testimony is going to save somebody one day. It's the ones that get off the blues. It's the ones that get off the heroin. It's the one that gets out of the meth. It's the ones that stop drinking. It's the ones that get their life straight because they were absolutely nothing at one point. And then they found their worth, and they realized that their voice does matter. Those are the ones that are going to save people. Those are the ones that are going to say, you know what? If I can do it, you can do it too. And what's even sadder is that I'm an addict. And I treated them like that. I know why people go to the bottom of the bottle. I know why people sell their dope. I know why people take their drugs. I understand all of that very clearly. But I forgot where I came from, and I forgot who I was. And most importantly, I forgot whose I was. I let my higher power down by treating all of them like shit. Because Circle K says they're not allowed to sleep on the property. Circle K says you better not give them food or else you'll lose your job. Circle K says treat them like shit. But Circle K pays the bills. So how far am I going to let my soul go to make sure my bills can get paid? The dance with the devil doesn't have to be having intercourse with multiple people. It doesn't have to be putting a needle in your arm. It doesn't have to be putting drugs on foil, drinking to the bottom of the bottle. Dancing with the devil can be working 60 hours a week. It can be yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. And then the sad part is when we dance with that devil, we don't realize that we're dancing with it until it's too late. Until we lose completely who we are, and we forget who we are. We forget where we come from. We forget whose we are. That was the most important part. Because who we are, I change every single day. Where I came from, that's part of my story. But whose I am, that's a constant. That is a constant. And when a corporate business, because yes, it is business, I can see both sides of the story. I understand that they need business, and a bunch of people doing drugs outside doesn't exactly scream, come shop here. But there has to be a gentler, easier way to handle it than treating other human beings like garbage when they already feel like cockroaches because they've already tried dying multiple times and didn't. So in their mind, they're already a cockroach. What's left beneath that, right? According to society, I think cockroaches are actually pretty cool. They're the creature that won't die. No matter what. Like, you can step on it, you can cut it in half, you can, everything in it continues to come back. So I think cockroaches are pretty cool. But society says that they're the worst creature in this world. And then in turn, while claiming to follow Jesus, we turn around and treat people like shit because we believe they're beneath us. all because the company says so. That was one hell of a battle that I no longer have to fight, and I'll never fight again. I refuse. I refuse to dance with that devil, because that devil doesn't look like a devil. It really doesn't. That demon doesn't look like a demon. I mean, sure, I can say no to drugs all day. I can say no to alcohol all day. I can say no to having sex with random people all day long. But that's because I know what I'm dancing with. I know what energy that's feeding. But when it comes to survival, it's kind of hard to tell. I know that I went sort of on a rampage, but I think it's important for people to understand the impact that we make with a simple, you're better than that, you're worth more than that, look, your friends left you. Yeah. Instead of, you're a piece of scum. I hope you choke on the food you stole. That was another one that I would say. And I can't really blame Circle K, right? Because I could have been nicer about it. Absolutely. But when the cup is empty and there's nothing left, all that's left is the darkness. When there's no more light left, all you have is darkness. And that's where I was. I was darkness, trying to be light. I was a burnt out candle still trying to illuminate the world. And in turn, I illuminated it with darkness. And I'm not proud of that. I am sorry for that. I'm sorry for every single person that I told was worthless. For every single person that I made feel like shit. For putting myself on a pedestal because I thought that I was better than in that moment. When in reality, I was less than, because at least they weren't treating people like shit. They were stealing to survive. And when you're in survival mode, you don't make proper decisions. The decisions are rash. I'm not justifying theft, but I'm unjustifying my actions, because there was no reason for me to be that rude to them. There was no reason for me to treat them like crap. All for what? Because my boss said jump. I asked how high. I mean, yeah, I would at times get on my boss's face about it with no problem. But at the end of the day, it still took part of me. And I'm slowly getting that part back, the part that it took. The part that helps people. Because their testimony is what's gonna save lives. The testimony of the person that was raised in a rich home and didn't have to work their way to the top, that's not who saves people. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Keep your candles on.